All right, everyone, so here I am. I'm gonna do a quick test where I'm gonna be comparing the Cion with a 56 millimeter, it's the Helios on it, and my Panasonic S5 with a Jupiter 9 on it, 85 mil. They're pretty much equivalent focal lengths. You're gonna have similar color characteristics between the two lenses. Obviously, there's a little bit of variation there with the color cast of the glass in the lenses, but I wanna show you some of the different white balance profiles in the Cion. There's one that's flat, one that's more for skin tones and different things like that. And then also comparing that with today's modern sensor technology. So here I am with another S5. I'm just gonna give you a rundown of the lighting situation. I've got a Godox VL300 behind me for a rim light. It's way overkill. It's all the way down on its intensity. I had to kind of rebuild that. Ordered it used, and it had the issue that all the VL300s really had, where it burns out. So I replaced the fan in it. Since I bought it used, it wasn't covered under warranty, so I had to do some work on it to get it working. I spent like $250 on the light, and it didn't work. So rather than sending it back, I just replaced the fan in it, and it works perfectly now. So if you have one and it's out of warranty and that happens to you, all you have to do is just find a fan that fits exactly, replace that fan, and it should work just fine. That's normally what the problem is, the fan burns out. So also, just for a little bit more backlight and also kind of to light up the paper behind me, I've got a GVM RGB light. They're super cheap. And then here, for the key light, I've got a 48-inch softbox blasting a Nanlite Forza 300 through it. I think I'm 42% brightness in this room, and all the lights are off in the room. So that's the lighting setup for this test. So I originally had a really short and sweet outro recorded here, but I was so shocked by the editing of the footage at the end of this test that I had to talk about it. And I had to show you a little bit more in depth rather than just showing you a comparison of the footage, because I don't feel like the actual comparison is fair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show you how easy it is to manipulate the Cion footage to look really great and honestly better than the S5 when you're filming super flat on the Cion and filming in vlog on the S5. The comparison is honestly really shocking. I am not great with Resolve. I have edited now, this is 3 videos in Resolve total ever in my life. I'm not great with the color on it yet, much more used to Lumetri, so this is a little bit of a learning curve. You're gonna see me do some really beginner things in here. I apologize in advance. I'm not the greatest colorist, but I just wanna show you a comparison of this footage at the end and how it looks, how it really looks. So what I'm doing, on the right here we have the vlog footage from the S5, and then here we have the Cion footage. The Cion footage looks ugly right now. Just looks green. I got the vlog footage taken over, and I'm just gonna get that very rough grade. This is what the color is wanting to do, and I can get a little bit more natural looking, but anyway, it's just very, very dirty grade here. That's just what it's wanting to do naturally from the vlog. If we go over here to the Cion footage, we're just gonna boost the contrast a little bit. We're gonna boost the saturation. And now we're just gonna take this tint. All right, and so here we're getting this to a better place, but we're just gonna bring that gain up a little bit. See, that looks really bad now.
makes me want to adjust it. Just get some more pop. So here, let's take that, get this a little closer. So just very rough and ready, like really, really minor. You can see dynamic range is an issue. Dynamic range is definitely an issue. But if I were to have exposed to protect the highlights, which I didn't, I actually brought this up to 500 EI instead of the 320. And I did that to match the exposures across the way. The vlog footage bottoms out at 640. So I brought this up to 500. If I had kept that at 320, I probably could have saved those highlights there and just brought up the gamma. Keep those shadows down. But honestly, my face looks a lot more natural in the Cion footage. Now, it's not like the greatest footage in the world. It doesn't look amazing. But if you're gonna be comparing what comes out more naturally, you've got the slight variation in the color behind, which is a lot more natural. It's a lot closer to what it looked like. Versus over here, this is just what is happening in this footage. Now, that's probably because I just did a horrible job over here getting this grade going, and I didn't do what I probably should have done, and that would have been to bring in the LUT that I normally use instead of this color space transform. Let's just do that real quick. Let's see, now we've got that here, and we're just gonna, on top of that, go further. And we're gonna do that. Just gonna this is a better place. Anyways, so bottom line here, the footage is honestly really malleable over here. I can do a lot with the footage of the Cion over here. Just get a better look at this. Bring that up a little bit to get rid of some of that over contrasty stuff. And ultimately, that's in a good spot. Whereas over here, I gotta deal with some of this. It's like oversaturated. So maybe that's the sweet spot of the Cion. Maybe the sweet spot of the Cion is that it needs to not be overly saturated. Because you can see here, it's got some good elements of the shot. See, it looks pretty good. Skin tone side by side. This is all post grade, but you can see this did not blow out. This was not overexposed over here. It did blow out here. I don't like zooming in on my face that much, but you can definitely see, yes, there's this hard line here where it blew out. But I also did not set it up to win there. That's at 500 EI. If I'd done that at 320, I don't think it would have blown out. If we look earlier in the test, back here, this was at 320. This was at video white balance. Let me just go all the way back. My goodness, I don't know how to navigate Resolve. Don't hurt me. Well, I stand corrected. 320. Yep, still blown out. Still Still blown out. Well, that's your verdict on the Cion. Dynamic range is bad. But let's be real over here. Let's be real over here. Okay? I mean, it's not the worst. What is the worst? Is this right here. That's the worst. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed me showing you this footage.
So what did we learn? Well, we learned that the Cion doesn't look horrible, as long as you're not using the baked-in looks. The baked-in looks take your skin tones into really weird places. And it's gonna be a lot harder to bring those back if you're using all those baked-in looks. But if you take the Cine Gamma or linear and convert it to RE log C, whatever you wanna do, and then you take the flat white balance and you let that be ugly until you color grade it, you can get some pretty good images. But the dynamic range has been a consistent issue with the camera so far. And what I worry about is backlit scenes are a no-go. I think that I have a wedding coming up this weekend, and I was hoping to use the Cion as a back of the room dump shot for the ceremony. But I know that the room is backlit pretty heavily, and I'm thinking that's gonna be a mistake. So what do you think? Looking at the footage, looking at how easy it was to get the footage from looking horrible to looking much better, even with my really beginner colorist skills, whatever you wanna call that. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below what you think about the skin tones. And honestly, if you wanna have opinions on the S5 skin tones there, feel free to comment those below as well. I really love the S5 looks. This test, I don't think I set it up for success. It was probably the ugliest looking skin tones that I've ever gotten out of the camera, so what did we learn? I don't know.